When a woman chooses a man, her choice goes far beyond the superficial. It is not just about what she sees in the mirror, but about what she feels in his presence. A woman may notice your looks, your physique, even your charm at first glance, but what she holds on to is the emotional experience you create for her. Women are wired to feel before they choose, and what they long for more than anything else is emotional safety. Emotional safety is that quiet assurance that she can let down her guard without fear of being judged, abandoned, or diminished. When a man creates this space for her, he unlocks something sacred in her heart. It is not about competing with other men or proving yourself through surface attributes. It is about allowing her to feel anchored, steady, and protected emotionally. That kind of experience outshines every physical quality you may obsess over. Many men fall into the trap of believing that women measure them by physical size alone. This belief, often reinforced by media and shallow conversations, fuels insecurity that eats away at confidence. But women are not calculating attraction with a measuring tape. They are scanning for signs of trustworthiness, consistency, and emotional presence. When a woman feels safe with you, she allows herself to step into her softness, her vulnerability, and her most authentic self. That vulnerability is not a weakness, it is the very core of intimacy. Size might capture fleeting attention, but it cannot create this lasting bond. Emotional safety is what keeps a woman from pulling away when life becomes overwhelming. It reassures her that you are not just a body, but a partner. That security is the true foundation of connection. Think about how a woman behaves when she does not feel emotionally safe. She becomes guarded, hesitant, careful with her words, almost as though she is bracing for disappointment. In this state, her body may be present, but her spirit is withdrawn. Compare that with how she glows, laughs freely, and opens up when she knows she is safe. The difference is striking, and it has nothing to do with physical attributes. This is why a man who may not look extraordinary can still feel irresistible to a woman, because she associates him with comfort, understanding, and reliability. Emotional safety is the invisible magnet that draws her in again and again. Without it, size or physical appeal cannot hold her attention for long. With it, she sees you as rare, valuable, and unforgettable. The reason emotional safety matters so much is that women are relational beings. From an early age, they are socialized to connect, to nurture, and to create bonds. So when a man offers a space of consistency and respect, he is aligning with her deepest needs. This is not about weakness on her part, but about her longing for stability in a world that often feels unpredictable. Imagine her as someone who carries so many roles: daughter, friend, professional, maybe mother, and all those roles can weigh heavily. Emotional safety from her partner becomes her sanctuary. It is the place where she no longer has to perform, no longer has to prove, no longer has to hide. In your presence, she wants to feel like she is enough. That is what emotional safety provides, and it is why women cherish it far more than the physical. Many men underestimate the power of emotional intelligence in relationships. They chase after external improvements, trying to alter how they look or what they own, without realizing the most magnetic quality is how they make a woman feel. When you listen without judgment, when you validate her emotions without dismissing them, when you protect her heart instead of exposing her weaknesses, you communicate more attraction than any surface trait could. Women remember the man who calms their storms, not the one who fuels their fears. They stay with the man who brings peace to their chaos, not the one who keeps them guessing. Your ability to provide emotional safety becomes your signature. It defines how she talks about you, how she trusts you, and how she commits to you. In the end, it is not about being perfect. It is about being present. Creating emotional safety requires intentional effort. It means choosing honesty over manipulation, communication over silence, and empathy over indifference. Too many men underestimate how much weight their words carry. A careless remark can wound her deeply, while a thoughtful response can reassure her for weeks. Safety is built when she knows you are consistent, not only when it is convenient for you, but especially when it is difficult. A woman learns to trust when she sees that your presence does not vanish in conflict or discomfort. This trust is like oxygen, it sustains everything else in the relationship. Without it, attraction suffocates, intimacy fades, and love feels fragile. With it, everything grows, thrives, and deepens. Emotional safety is the soil from which love truly blossoms. If you observe women closely, you will notice something powerful. The women who flourish in their relationships are those who feel emotionally secure with their partners. They laugh more, they glow differently, they express more freely. Their beauty, their confidence, their willingness to give, it all amplifies when they know their heart is safe. A man who invests in emotional safety unlocks the best version of his woman. She becomes more affectionate, more loyal, more adventurous, because she does not fear betrayal. This is why size pales in comparison. A man may think he impresses her with physicality, but what she treasures is how safe she feels when the world feels uncertain. That safety becomes her anchor, and it ties her heart to his in a way no physical attribute could. When you offer emotional safety, you also create space for passion to grow naturally. Intimacy thrives when there is no fear, no pretense, and no doubt. A woman who feels safe is a woman who can surrender fully, emotionally, mentally, and physically. This surrender is not about control, but about trust. She allows herself to be fully present with you because she believes you will not misuse her vulnerability. That level of openness creates a connection so powerful it eclipses any obsession with size. Gratitude, in fact, your intimacy why they have had were not with the most repulsing physically endowed partners, but with those who made them feel emotionally secure. That is the kind of truth men need to embrace. Ultimately, emotional safety redefines what attraction means for women. It shifts the focus from performance to presence, from insecurity to confidence, from size to substance. The man who understands this no longer competes on shallow grounds. He rises above comparison because he knows his value is not measured in inches, but in impact. His worth is reflected in the peace he gives, the trust he builds, and the love he sustains. Women notice this, even if they cannot always put it into words. What stays in their memory, what lingers in their hearts, is how safe they felt in his presence. That is the measure of a true partner. That is what women crave more than anything else. When women think of intimacy, they rarely frame it in terms of numbers, size, or measurements. What resonates most with them is how deeply connected they feel to the person in front of them. It is not about physical comparison with another man, nor is it about some imaginary standard. Women feel the difference between a man who is distracted and insecure versus a man who is fully present. The latter can turn an ordinary moment into something unforgettable. True intimacy is not about the exterior, but about the experience shared between two souls. A woman remembers how a man made her laugh, how he listened when her voice trembled, and how he leaned in without judgment. These are the memories that outlast any physical impression. These are the experiences that keep her coming back for more. Comparison, however, destroys intimacy faster than anything else. When a man compares himself to others, whether in body, possessions, or performance, he reveals a quiet insecurity. That insecurity robs him of his ability to be present, because his focus is not on her, but on how he measures up. Women can sense this immediately. They feel the shift when a man is not confident in himself, and it creates distance instead of closeness. Women crave connection, not competition. They want a partner who believes he is enough, who does not need to prove his worth through comparison. Because when a man is consumed with comparison, he cannot offer the kind of presence that intimacy demands. Without presence, connection starves, and when connection starves, no size in the world can satisfy her. Presence is a gift that cannot be faked. It is the quiet power of a man who knows he belongs in the moment, who leans into the interaction with full attention. Presence is about eye contact, about listening with more than your ears, about showing that her words carry weight. Women are moved by a man who notices the little things, who remembers what she said last week, who responds with care rather than routine. This kind of presence makes her feel like she matters, like she is seen in a way no one else sees her. And when a woman feels seen, she opens her heart more freely. She allows herself to trust, to be vulnerable, and to connect deeply. No comparison can create this effect, only genuine presence can. That is why connection always outweighs size. Connection is also about vulnerability, and many men underestimate its power. Men are often taught to be strong, stoic, and guarded, but women are drawn to the man who can be honest about his feelings. Vulnerability does not mean weakness, it means authenticity. When a man is not afraid to express what he feels, he creates an environment where a woman can do the same. This exchange of openness builds intimacy in a way no physical quality can. Vulnerability is what makes late-night conversations stretch until morning. It is what makes a touch linger longer than expected. It is what makes her heart race, not because of performance, but because of honesty. True intimacy requires this level of connection, and it cannot exist where comparison reigns. It thrives only where authenticity lives. Women also associate connection with emotional consistency. They want to know that the man they are opening up to today will be the same man tomorrow. Size may capture curiosity for a moment, but consistency earns devotion over time. A man who is stable in his emotions, who does not fluctuate based on ego or insecurity, becomes a source of grounding for her. This steadiness allows her to feel safe in the connection, knowing she will not be blindsided by sudden shifts. Emotional consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is what makes her trust that intimacy is real and not temporary. It is what allows her to surrender fully, knowing she will not regret it. Without consistency, connection collapses, no matter what other factors exist. One of the most overlooked aspects of intimacy is attentiveness. Women notice when a man is attentive to their needs, their moods, and their unspoken signals. Attentiveness shows care, and care is the foundation of intimacy. A man who pays attention to her silence, who senses when she needs comfort without her having to ask, becomes irreplaceable in her eyes. This level of awareness comes only when a man is not distracted by comparison, but fully tuned into her. Attentiveness communicates that she matters more than any outside measure, and when she feels prioritized in this way, her connection to him deepens. She feels chosen, valued, and desired not for her body alone, but for her entire being. That feeling cannot be replicated by physicality alone. Confidence, too, plays a central role in building connection. Women are deeply attracted to a man who knows his worth without arrogance. Confidence says, "I am enough," while comparison whispers, "I am lacking." A confident man walks into intimacy with assurance, and this energy creates comfort for the woman beside him. She does not have to worry about soothing his insecurities or proving his adequacy. Instead, she can relax and enjoy the experience, knowing he is grounded in himself. Confidence makes room for playfulness, for laughter, for ease, qualities that turn ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. This is why women often say confidence is sexier than appearance, because confidence fuels connection, and connection is the true spark of intimacy. Another dimension of connection is emotional generosity. Intimacy is not just about taking, it is about giving without keeping score. A man who is emotionally generous listens without rushing, comforts without conditions, and loves without holding back. This generosity creates a sense of abundance in the relationship. A woman feels safe to pour herself into the connection because she knows she will not be drained or dismissed. Generosity does not ask, "What am I getting out of this?" It asks, "How can I make her feel more loved, more cherished, more secure?" That selfless energy magnifies intimacy in ways size never could, because at the end of the day, women crave to be nourished emotionally as much as, if not more than, physically. The truth is, intimacy thrives where ego dies. Comparison is rooted in ego, in the need to prove oneself against others. But connection is rooted in humility, in the willingness to see and be seen without masks. When a man lets go of the need to compare, he frees himself to build something authentic. He no longer views intimacy as a performance, but as a partnership. Women are moved by this shift because it allows them to meet him at a deeper level. It allows them to create intimacy that is not fleeting, but lasting. In the end, what matters most is not the size of the body, but the size of the connection. That is what defines true intimacy, and that is what women remember long after the moment has passed. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a man can carry, and women feel it long before he even speaks. Confidence is not arrogance, and it is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about walking into a room with the quiet assurance that you are enough, without needing validation from anyone else. Women are naturally sensitive to energy. They pick up on the subtle signals of self-belief or insecurity. A man who doubts himself unconsciously broadcasts that doubt, and it creates distance. But a man who trusts in his own worth radiates a kind of strength that is impossible to ignore. Women are drawn to that energy because it feels safe, grounded, and reliable. This is why confidence speaks louder than size. It communicates value beyond appearance. When a man is confident, he does not shrink in the presence of others, nor does he exaggerate to prove himself. He carries himself with balance, not needing to dominate, yet never fading into the background. This kind of quiet strength intrigues women because it suggests emotional maturity. Confidence says, "I know who I am and I am comfortable in my own skin." It does not depend on external validation or comparison. Women find this deeply attractive because it creates space for authenticity. They can relax in the presence of a man who does not constantly seek approval. He becomes a stable anchor, someone who is dependable in both light and heavy moments. That reliability is a rare treasure, and it leaves a lasting impression. Energy is another layer of attraction, and it is often more powerful than physical appearance. Energy is the invisible atmosphere you bring into every room, every interaction, every moment. Women can feel when your energy uplifts or when it drains. A man with vibrant, positive energy creates an environment where a woman feels alive, inspired, and cherished. He does not have to speak much because his energy already communicates so much. Women remember how your energy made them feel, even more than the words you said. This is why men who radiate warmth and presence are often more attractive than men who rely solely on looks. Energy is not bound by size, it flows from within. It reveals your attitude, your outlook, and your inner confidence. Confidence combined with good energy creates a powerful synergy that women cannot resist. It makes you magnetic, not because of what you possess physically, but because of who you are being in the moment. Women are drawn to men who make them feel seen and appreciated without pressure. They are drawn to men who stand tall not only in stature but in spirit. This energy is contagious. It lifts her mood, sparks her curiosity, and ignites her interest. Size alone may grab attention for a second, but it cannot sustain attraction without this inner glow. The truth is, women crave emotional experiences far more than visual ones. They want to feel safe, cherished, and alive in your presence. Confidence and energy deliver that feeling in ways size never can. A man's energy also reflects his purpose. A man who is aligned with his values, goals, and passions radiates a kind of confidence that is magnetic. Women can sense when a man has direction and when he is drifting. Purpose-driven men inspire, and inspiration is deeply attractive. It tells her that you are not just existing, but you are living intentionally. That passion becomes part of your aura, and she feels it when she's with you. She sees that you are not defined by insecurity or comparison, but by your pursuit of growth. That energy creates respect, admiration, and desire. When you live with purpose, you invite her to be part of a bigger vision. That invitation makes her want to stay close to you, not because of size, but because of spirit. Confidence also shows up in how you handle challenges. Women watch how you respond when things do not go your way. Do you crumble, complain, or retreat into insecurity? Or do you face difficulties with resilience and calm? A confident man does not avoid problems. He approaches them with resourcefulness. Women admire this because it reflects strength of character. They feel safer with a man who can handle adversity without falling apart. That safety is far more appealing than any physical measurement. Because when life gets tough, size does not protect her heart, but your confidence will. It reassures her that you are capable, dependable, and emotionally strong. These are qualities that create long, lasting attraction. Energy and confidence also affect intimacy directly. Women crave experiences where they can let go, where they can trust that their partner is fully present. A confident man creates this environment by being calm, grounded, and focused. He does not overthink, and he does not compare himself to others. Instead, he allows the connection to flow naturally, and that ease makes intimacy fulfilling. Women feel safe to surrender emotionally and physically when they sense this confidence. It reassures them that they are desired for more than their body, and it deepens the connection. Size cannot create that trust, but confidence can. Presence, energy, and assurance turn ordinary intimacy into something unforgettable. Another reason confidence matters is that it empowers communication. Women love a man who can express himself clearly without fear of judgment. A confident man says what he means with kindness and clarity. He does not hide behind silence or defensive walls. This directness builds trust because she knows where she stands with him. A man who communicates confidently eliminates confusion and reduces insecurity. Women crave this honesty because it creates stability in the relationship. They do not have to guess his intentions or wonder about his feelings. Instead, they can relax and enjoy the connection, knowing it is built on openness. Size plays no role here. Communication is what keeps intimacy alive. Ultimately, confidence and energy are reflections of self-acceptance. A man who accepts himself fully no longer competes with others because he knows he is unique. That acceptance radiates as peace, and peace is attractive. It allows him to show up without masks, without pretense, without fear. Women can feel this authenticity, and it draws them in. They do not want a man who is perfect. They want a man who is real. Confidence gives them that gift. It says, I am comfortable with who I am, and I welcome you to be yourself too. That kind of energy creates intimacy that lasts because it is grounded in truth. And truth will always be more attractive than size. What women ultimately desire is not shallow attraction, but depth. A woman may initially notice surface qualities like looks or charm, but these only spark curiosity. They do not sustain her interest. What keeps her engaged is the sense that she is connecting with someone who can meet her at a deeper level, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. When a man can stimulate her thoughts, make her laugh, and give her a sense of being understood, he stands apart. That connection penetrates far beyond physical appearance. Size may be something men obsess over, but women measure intimacy differently. They look at how you speak to them, how you treat them when no one is watching, how you honor their emotions. Depth is what nourishes intimacy and makes attraction endure through time. It is the invisible glue that binds two souls together. Surface-level attraction is fleeting because it depends on novelty and physicality. A woman might enjoy the thrill of attention or the excitement of someone's appearance, but once the surface wears off, she looks for substance. This is why many men who rely solely on their looks or their size often find it difficult to keep a woman's interest long-term. Depth is what makes her stay, because depth gives her something she cannot find easily anywhere else. When a man listens closely to her words and asks meaningful questions, she feels valued. When he remembers details about her dreams or fears, she feels seen. These moments of recognition linger in her heart much longer than physical impressions. Women crave this depth because it speaks to their humanity, not just their senses. That is why depth always outlasts surface. Depth also shows itself through curiosity. Women love men who are curious not only about the world, but about them as individuals. Curiosity demonstrates interest, and interest creates connection. A man who asks, "What excites you most about your dreams?" shows he is invested in her inner world. He signals that her thoughts, feelings, and aspirations matter. That kind of curiosity is intoxicating because it makes her feel alive and important. She begins to open up in ways she may not with others, sharing more of her story, her hopes, and her truth. This level of openness builds intimacy that cannot be achieved through surface interaction. It becomes a cycle. His curiosity fuels her openness fuels his understanding, and the bond deepens. Another dimension of depth is empathy. Women long for a partner who can step into their shoes, who can feel with them rather than dismiss their emotions. Empathy is the bridge that connects two hearts, making her feel less alone in her struggles. When a man shows empathy, he communicates, "I see you, I hear you, and I understand you." That message is powerful because it assures her that she does not need to hide her vulnerability. Size cannot offer empathy, but depth can. Women are drawn to men who are emotionally intelligent, who respond with compassion rather than defensiveness. That emotional depth builds trust, and trust is the heartbeat of intimacy. Without it, no physical attraction can last. With it, every moment becomes more meaningful. Depth is also found in the way a man reveals himself. Vulnerability, when shared wisely, creates closeness. Women admire a man who can be open about his feelings, his fears, and even his failures. It shows strength, not weakness, because it requires courage to be authentic. This kind of vulnerability invites her to let her guard down too, creating a safe space for true connection. Without depth, conversations remain on the surface about weather, work, or appearances, but with vulnerability, conversations turn into lifelines. They become the place where intimacy is built and sustained. When she feels she can share her truth with you, she connects at the soul level. That connection is irreplaceable, and no amount of size can compete with it. Women also crave intellectual stimulation. Depth is not only about emotions, but also about the ability to challenge her mind. A woman wants to feel inspired, to feel that she is learning and growing alongside her partner. Conversations that stretch her thinking, debates that spark curiosity, and discussions that expand her perspective are deeply attractive. They show that the man she is with has substance, that he has more to offer than appearances. Intellect, when paired with emotional intelligence, creates a powerful combination. It gives her the sense that she is part of something bigger, that she is not stagnant but evolving. Women value this because they, too, want to feel alive and expanding. Intellectual depth transforms attraction into admiration. Admiration, in turn, strengthens intimacy. Depth is also spiritual, and women often long for a connection that transcends the physical and emotional. Spiritual depth is not about religion alone. It is about values, purpose, and alignment. A woman feels drawn to a man whose life is guided by principles, who has a sense of meaning beyond himself. This depth reassures her that she is part of something sacred and lasting. She feels safe because she knows the bond is anchored in more than momentary pleasure. It touches something eternal, something profound. This spiritual alignment creates a sense of unity that no surface attraction could replicate. Women value this because it grounds the relationship and gives it direction. Depth on this level creates not just romance, but legacy. It is also worth noting that depth sustains passion. Surface attraction may ignite sparks, but it fades without deeper fuel. When a man offers depth through empathy, vulnerability, curiosity, and intellect, he keeps the flame alive. Every interaction feels fresh, not because of novelty, but because of meaning. A woman who feels deeply connected never grows bored. Instead, she grows more invested. The relationship becomes an unfolding story, rich with discovery and growth. That depth keeps intimacy alive long after the initial thrill fades. Passion rooted in depth does not wither. It matures into something stronger, richer, and more fulfilling. This is why women stay with men who offer depth, even when surface attractions fade. Depth is what endures. Ultimately, women want to feel that they are more than bodies to be admired. They want to feel like whole human beings, minds, hearts, and spirits included. A man who brings depth into a relationship elevates intimacy beyond the ordinary. He transforms it from a shallow interaction into a soulful connection. Women remember how he made them feel understood, how he touched not just their body but their heart and mind. That experience leaves an imprint that lasts far beyond the moment. Surface qualities fade with time, but depth becomes richer. It is the well from which love continues to draw water. This is what women crave most, even if they do not always say it out loud. What sustains a woman in a relationship is not size, but the fulfillment she feels in her heart. Women long for connection that nourishes them on an emotional level. They ask themselves silently, do I feel heard? Do I feel valued? Do I feel like I truly matter to him? When the answer is yes, attraction deepens and commitment grows stronger. Emotional fulfillment is what makes her want to invest, to stay, and to give back. It becomes the anchor that keeps her grounded even when challenges arise. Size may catch her eye for a moment, but emotional fulfillment wins her devotion for a lifetime. This is why women place more weight on how you make them feel than on any physical attribute. When a woman feels emotionally fulfilled, she shows up differently in the relationship. Her energy becomes softer, more open, more inviting. She feels safe to express affection, to share her thoughts, and to give without fear of rejection. This openness creates a cycle of intimacy where both partners feed into each other's hearts. A woman who feels fulfilled does not seek validation outside the relationship because she already receives it where she is. That sense of security makes her bloom into the best version of herself. Women often say, "He makes me feel like myself," and that is the highest compliment. It means the relationship is giving her life, not draining it. That fulfillment cannot be bought, measured, or compared. It can only be experienced. Emotional fulfillment also comes from consistency. Women crave stability in love, the assurance that they can depend on their partner in both good and difficult times. A man who shows up consistently demonstrates reliability, and reliability builds trust. Trust then creates fulfillment because she knows she does not have to carry the weight of uncertainty alone. A relationship built on inconsistency may offer sparks but lacks grounding. It leaves her anxious, questioning, and insecure. But when a man is consistent, she feels emotionally nourished because she can rest in his presence. This steadiness creates the foundation upon which passion, love, and intimacy thrive. Without it, fulfillment cannot survive. Another source of fulfillment is emotional validation. Women want their feelings to be acknowledged, not dismissed. When a man listens without trying to fix everything immediately, when he says, "I hear you and your feelings are valid," she feels safe. That safety fills her heart with trust and love. Validation communicates respect, and respect is one of the deepest forms of intimacy. Women remember the men who made them feel understood, not the ones who made them feel small. Size cannot validate her feelings, but empathy can. When you give her space to be herself without judgment, you feed her soul. That nourishment is what she carries with her long after the conversation ends. Emotional validation becomes a form of love she treasures deeply. Fulfillment also grows through appreciation. Women need to feel that their presence is not taken for granted. A simple acknowledgement, "I appreciate you," or "I love how you support me," can mean everything. Appreciation makes her feel valued, and value creates fulfillment. When she feels invisible, she withers. When she feels seen, she flourishes. This is why many relationships die not from lack of love, but from lack of appreciation. Women are not asking for grand gestures every day, they are asking for recognition of their worth. That recognition reassures them that their effort, love, and sacrifices matter. It gives them the emotional nourishment they crave. A woman who feels appreciated is a woman who feels fulfilled. Fulfillment is also tied to communication. Women desire clarity, openness, and honesty in relationships. When a man communicates directly, it eliminates confusion and builds trust. Trust, in turn, becomes the soil in which fulfillment grows. Without clear communication, doubts creep in, and doubts poison intimacy. A man who hides behind silence or dishonesty leaves her starving for security, but a man who communicates truthfully, even when it is difficult, feeds her with reassurance. She feels respected because he values transparency over comfort, that honesty makes her feel secure, and security makes her fulfilled. Words may seem simple, but they carry the power to build or break her heart. Emotional fulfillment also comes from shared growth. Women want to feel like their relationship is evolving, not stagnant. When a man encourages her dreams, supports her goals, and grows alongside her, she feels deeply satisfied. Growth together creates fulfillment because it assures her that she is not walking alone. She is part of a partnership where both individuals are becoming better versions of themselves. This journey of growth creates excitement and strengthens the bond. Women crave this kind of companionship because it keeps love alive. Without growth, fulfillment fades into routine, but with growth, fulfillment becomes endless. It transforms the relationship into a source of inspiration and purpose. Fulfillment is also rooted in affection. Women want to feel cherished through touch, attention, and tenderness. A hug at the right moment, a gentle touch, or even a look of admiration can fill her heart more than words ever could. Physical affection that is tied to emotional connection makes her feel secure. It reassures her that she is desired and loved, not just for her body, but for her essence. This kind of affection builds intimacy that size alone cannot achieve. It communicates care in the language her heart understands best. When affection is consistent and intentional, it becomes the nourishment her soul thrives on. It is a small gesture that carries infinite weight. Ultimately, fulfillment is the measure by which women decide the depth of their commitment. If she feels fulfilled, she invests more of herself, gives more of her love, and stays through storms. If she does not, she withdraws, even if she is physically present. Fulfillment is not about perfection. It is about effort, care, and presence. A woman will always choose the man who makes her feel cherished over the one who merely impresses her physically. Because in the end, love is not sustained by size, but by substance. Fulfillment is the substance she longs for most. It is the quiet force that makes her feel alive, valued, and truly loved.